And welcome into the CK Podcast 347, aka CK Podcast Live. Myself, Dustin Breakbill, with the one and only managing editor from Cowbell Kingdom, the one and only Leo Biaz. Hey, Leo.
What's up, brother? I'm happy to be here. We haven't done a Saturday podcast because you've been taking over, doing great things. You did about 4 podcasts in about a week and a half. That's pretty impressive, my man.
Ashley Neville, then Trevor Lane from
that was
LakersNation.com, which is a great website.
Right. They're pretty much us.
Yeah, here at Cowbell Kingdom looks up to them, but they've
Lakers.
been doing it for a while. So some website, Trevor does a great job at covering the Lakers. And then we had the
Rogan's
no, that's
husband.
Mark Ryan. That was 346. But we also had why am I missing this one real quick? Oh, Jordan Malley from Locked On Bulls podcast, who is also a great listen for podcasts, the Locked On Nations. They do well with their podcast network. But yeah, we talked Bulls, Lakers, rest of the NBA with Ashley, who covers Summer League, and then Mark Ryan yesterday from Sports Radio 610 in Houston. We talked Rockets basketball, and a little Seth Rogen also.
Yeah, and I highly recommend every single one of you guys to tune in and listen to those awesome shows. But before we get into today's plate, I want to let you guys know that this episode is presented by POWERHANDZ. So if you're looking to enhance your basketball skills, just overall your shooting, your ball handling, make sure to grab yourself a pair of gloves. They really do work. And let them know that you heard about it on the Cowbell Kingdom podcast. Also, I'll be going to the A's-Giants game tonight. Woo! I'm super excited. They lost last night. They let them off the hook. But if you are looking for tickets, SeatGeek is the place to go. All you got to do is use the code Cowbell and you get $20 off your purchase. That's a pretty good deal, my man.
Yeah, it is.
So
hey, Battle of the Bay.
I did it yesterday. I got $20 off on my purchase, and I was pretty ecstatic. So for everybody that will get future tickets at concerts or other games, make sure to use the code Cowbell.
Before we talk about Summer League, because you and E-Man were down there for a little while, let's talk about the breaking news that happened yesterday and happened this morning, basically. Jabari Parker signing a 2-year, $40 million deal. And I think Jordan Malley was one of the guys from Locked On. I interviewed last week. I saw on Twitter this morning and said, or yesterday, how about that all ACL team with him and Zach LaVine now?
That was pretty much what I wanted for the Kings. That's so funny because I wanted the ACL brothers.
Yeah.
And of course, guys, it's a joke, but I love it. I was so high on the Bulls drafting my man from Duke. And, I hate to say it like that, but I had him 5th on my big board in Wendell Carter Jr. I wish I would have had him higher. I wish I would have had him number 3 because, that's where I wanted, but I was kind of scared because of what DeAndre Ayton can potentially bring, which he hasn't looked that bad either, but I love Wendell Carter. And then when you combine that with Lauri Markkanen, now with Jabari Parker, you keep Zach LaVine.
Those are two
you
guys.
Have Chris Dunn. That is an amazing nucleus. And then you draft Chandler Hutchinson from Boise State.
That's what I talked to Jordan about last week.
This team is loaded.
They're like, the fans, they sometimes, I don't know, sometimes like the Kings, they're back in the past. The Bulls, that was a long time ago.
Right.
But you have to think of now.
It's a different mindset.
It's a different mindset. And Jordan and me talked about it. It's hard to get a free agency person to Chicago. They don't know why. Is it the front office? Is it the ownership? It's just a miracle because Chicago is one of the best cities to live in the nation, and it's number 3 in the market size. But they have to build that team within, and that's what Gar Forman and John Paxton are doing, kind of like the Kings model. You get these young players, stay there for a while, and Fred Hoiberg's still a great coach.
I like their pieces a lot more than what the Kings have.
Yeah, they have great young pieces.
Right.
And you're high on marketing from last year. And I was saying Wendell.
High on Wendell Carter.
Yeah.
I had him 5th on my big board. Nobody had him 5th on
is he
on the
this
big
year's
board.
Or last year's Donovan Mitchell for you?
Yes.
Okay.
At least in his position.
Okay.
Because him going number 7 and everybody pretty much overlooking him being the last, say, big out of the Bamba, Jackson, Aiden, Bagley guys, right? He was the last one to get chosen, kind of like Mitchell last year. Out of all the point guards, Dennis, the guy from the Sixers, Fox, Lonzo. Again, there is some resemblance there where he was the last point guard point guard shooting guard, and this guy was the last power forward center to be taken. I love it. And
Mm-hmm.
again, he's already shown things that people had question marks on, which was his lateral quickness. When they do put him on a switch and they pick and roll, he's been able to guard those quicker guards. I saw it on tape. I hate to say I told you so, but I kept seeing it. I was like, dude, he's not bad laterally, and he's a much better athlete than what people give him credit for. He's been a monster on the glass. He's been a monster with his blocks. He's leading the summer league in blocks. And again, hindsight, it is summer league. Donovan Mitchell, Kyle Kuzma dominated summer league. They had a pretty good year, didn't they? So I don't want to hear it's just summer league. No. For some instances, it's summer league, but you can already tell that this kid has what it takes to be a good basketball player at the next level.
Let's get back to Jabari Parker. What's this mean for the Bulls, and what is this a loss for the Kings?
It's a loss for the Kings because they did what I told you that day when you had me on. I said, give him a $20 million deal or something along those lines. So the Bucks won't match, and the Bucks ended up rescinding them and then making them an unrestricted free agent. But because they weren't going to match the $20 million, in essence, it's see what he does in 1 year. You have a team option for year 2. Why not take that risk on a number 2 pick who has shown flashes of greatness? It makes no sense to me from the Kings standpoint, and honestly, it's an embarrassment. It is.
Yeah.
Because they should have been more aggressive, and they should have brought in Jabari Parker.
Why do you think they haven't been aggressive?
I guess the plan is to go big in 2019, but my thing to you is what I pretty much said on the last podcast. If you're not getting these guys this year, next year when you have to compete against other teams who will have cap space, you're not going to do very well.
No.
Period. Unless you win 50 games this season, and that's not going to happen. I'm sorry to tell you guys that.
Okay, you talked about Jabari Parker. Where do the Kings go from here now? Since he's gone, what do they do? Do they make any moves?
They have to go after Marcus Smart.
Okay.
It's a must. I know. Look, the recreational fan, and I want to bring this up. They always say, well, he's not a small forward. Fans get caught up way too much on a position and size. You are who you can defend. Marcus Smart can defend 1 through 3. I have no issues with Marcus Smart playing small forward in certain lineups because he's able to guard that. And then when Vlade and the front office, when they say we're high on Marvin Bagley to play small forward, and I'm thinking to myself, the man can guard a power forward or a center. What makes you think he can guard a small forward? Again, you are who you can defend in the NBA. And honestly, he's not a small forward. They got to keep him at, the 4 or 5. Don't play him out of position where won't put him in a position to succeed.
He's not Kevin Durant.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's not. He's nowhere near that.
Yeah.
He needs to develop his jump shot first and foremost. He needs to go out there, work with Hamlin, one of the best shooting coaches in the world. You know what? Because sometimes when you're around your own organization, guys are afraid, coaches are afraid to say, oh, my bad. Like, no, you got to be tough with this kid at a young age. Like, if you go out and you go train with Drew Hamlin, who's not part of the Kings organization, you have to pay him to come train you. He's going to tell you straight up, hey, dude, you suck.
Yeah.
We need to fix this ASAP. You need to get better. You need that type of guy on your butt to nitpick on stuff so you can improve overall, bring that to the table, make your organization better. That's what I want to happen. Markelle Fultz is already working with him. He had question marks about his shoulder and the shooting stroke. He's working it out with one of the best in the industry. Those are things you got to do and take upon yourself to become a better basketball player.
Who's the Kings' projected starting forward or small forward in your mind?
Right now, it's Justin Jackson.
Okay.
JJ had a great summer league.
He does.
Albeit as a number 1 option on offense, he's not going to be that when it comes to the season. So I'm very... I'm curious to see how he's going to take being a 4th or a 5th option in an offense. Will he disappear like he did last year, or can he make his presence felt on the defensive end? That's what I want to see.
Become a role player.
Right. Yeah. Become a role player, affect the game in different ways.
You don't have to be the star.
Exactly.
Yeah. Look
at
last
year he felt at that.
Yeah.
You know, last year he was good in summer league and scoring the ball.
Then he came in the season and
nothing. And now he came back.
Yeah.
He's playing well.
Yeah.
So again, what are you gonna do differently? How can you improve? How can you continue to watch tape and just make yourself better and impact the game?
So you and E-Man were down at summer league for how many days?
So last year we were there for 7 days. So pretty much everything was dreadful, guys.
Yeah.
This time we're there for 2 days, and this time we drove because we had so much equipment.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously it's very expensive to fly all that stuff. You have to buy different, carry-ons and stuff like that.
Searched, yeah.
So, and you get searched like crazy.
Yeah.
It's a hassle to go through TSA and all that stuff. So we decided to take the whole shebang, which, again, we dropped a Bam Adebayo vlog yesterday. Hopefully, if you guys haven't watched it, go watch it right now. It's pretty good. And we'll be providing DeAndre Ayton, Miles Bridges, Trae Young, Jaren Jackson, Jonathan Isaac. We took the best of the best type of equipment to bring you guys the best type of coverage and the best type of content.
Talking about those young guys, which couple guys caught your eye from summer league?
Obviously, Wendell was the best big. Jonathan Isaac was the best player.
Okay.
Period. And Jonathan Isaac last year, we kind of forgot about him because he was injured with the Magic. The only thing that resonates with me was last year when he went to go preach and he invited his teammates, nobody showed up, right? And Anthony Tolliver he was with the Pistons, but still a good friend of Cowboy Kingdom. Yeah. He said, I would have went if you would have invited me, and I'm not even on your team. So that was what resonated with me and what I remember the most about Jonathan Isaac, because he was injured. He only played, limited minutes. I think it was 400 minutes last year. So he showed a lot this year. He tightened up his handle. His jump shot is pure. He reminds me a lot of Kevin Durant. And I know that's blasphemous to say something like that, but he has the potential to be something close to that at the bare minimum.
You talked to Ayton. How was that? You said last week on one of the podcasts that when we talked to you from Vegas that he's a good, funny guy, and he's great with the media so far.
He's funny.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's very good friends with Bagley.
Yeah.
He's very good friends with a lot of people. Both of them, Bagley and Aiden being from Arizona, both were coached by Mike Bibby, which was pretty cool. I think from a friendship standpoint, he gave a lot of love to Bagley. I thought Harry Giles outperformed Bagley on so many levels. I think he's a better basketball player, and I don't think anybody can really debate that right now. The thing with Giles is, will he be able to stay healthy? So, that's one of the big things for me.
And that was a surprise to me that Giles, he got a lot of love from the national media during Summer League so far. Right. And why do you think that is? Because of him having that hype coming into Duke, and we saw with the Kings, he sat out basically. He didn't play basically at Duke or with the Kings last year. Do you think that's why?
No, the biggest thing is his personality and how he approaches the game.
Yeah.
How grateful he is to be where he is today. Yeah. As I said in that vlog that we dropped, nothing is guaranteed for him. The odds were against him. They kept saying, you may never be the same, Harry. He endured all that adversity. He came through it. He had a strong, base, his mom and dad and his other family members. And again, that first game when he played against the Lakers at the California Classic, that was a day that I'll never forget, because he was so grateful after the game, saying, I just wanted to play basketball again. And he did. I think he scored 14 or 15 points, and he's been getting better gradually every single game. And it's such a great sighting to see, because the Kings need that tough-minded player who can get you into the game, who's going to trash talk to other guys and just continue to encourage you to strive for greatness on the basketball court, and that's Harry Giles.
What's the role for him going into next season from Vlade and the coaching staff?
He's a starter in my mind.
Okay.
He's starting at the 4 on day one.
Okay.
If he doesn't, there's going to be issues. There is, because you need to have strong starts. He is a guy that's going to give you 150% every single game, a lot like Jakari Sampson. You need those type of fiery guys on your squad, period.
California Classic you brought up, and we heard Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, talk about it last week during his question and answer down in the Summer League. Basically, he said it's awesome. I'm going to talk to the Kings about maybe adding more teams and maybe more days. How was that perceived, and what do you think the rest of the NBA thought of what the Kings did with the California Classic?
Everybody loved it. From people that I spoke to in Las Vegas, they were really impressed. Over 50,000 people showed up. Yeah. in Sacramento on a Monday, Tuesday, and a Thursday.
And a holiday week, basically, too.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was really encouraging from so many standpoints. And I applaud the commissioner and the people around him to say, you know what, we're going to make this bigger. And it makes sense to have something like this. And maybe it's a hint, let's get some more hotels in Sacramento so we can have an all-star weekend in Sacramento.
Let's go back to Vegas, though, real quick. What was the speculation around anything you were hearing around Summer League, around the NBA, if it's trades, free agency, or anything any people were saying down there?
A lot of what we heard today with Jabari, with Zach LaVine.
Nothing with Kawhi?
Nobody really knows with Kawhi. You know, like, he hasn't really came out and said anything himself. It's all been leaked out from his camp. Mm-hmm. You know, him supposedly wanting to go to the Lakers and not playing with LeBron, to that being false, to that being true.
The Clippers are thrown in there too now. It's
right.
Yeah.
So, like, we don't know, you know, and if it is true, it is eye-opening, though, that he wouldn't want to play with LeBron. And I kind of get it, because when you play with LeBron, there's so much pressure that builds up, because you have to play at a certain level and you have to be a contender, that you may not want all that pressure on you.
That's why I think this young Lakers team is actually perfect for LeBron.
Exactly.
I when I was talking to Trevor Lane from LakersNation.com about that, I thought about that. If he gets young players and they see the motivation he has, he's like Kobe. He'll be in the gym every day getting ready to go. I think this Lakers team is perfect the way they kind of are, with the young players surrounding LeBron with a couple veterans who LeBron trusts.
Yeah, I mean, you got Lonzo, you got Brandon Ingram, you got Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart.
Yeah.
Those are nice pieces that don't know what pressure is yet, and they're going to fly under the radar when it does come to playoff time. As of right now, knowing what we know, I think the Lakers are an 8 seed.
Yeah.
They're still not good enough, for me at least, to put them over teams like the Jazz, you know. Like,
I'm in love with Utah, to be honest, what they've been doing lately.
Guys like the Rockets, Warriors, you know, those type of teams. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all comes out. You know, San Antonio, depending on what happens with Kawhi, they may not make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
So.
And it could be Greg Popovich's last year.
It could.
Yeah.
It could. So many things can happen this year. You have a team like Dallas, who I think may make the playoffs.
They have a great lineup looking at
Luka
it to me.
Doncic with a better Dennis Smith, with DeAndre Jordan.
Dirk's last year.
I think they're going to make it.
Yeah.
Barring injury.
That team, and then getting Luka is basically great for them, having somebody for the future. With a Dennis Smith Jr., everybody was high on.
Right.
I think that's perfect. You saw Trae Young, too, at Summer League. How was he? A lot of people are still saying the Hawks got their guy, but a lot of people are still skeptical about that pick.
Well, he had a monster game against Wendell Carter and the Wolves. I think he had like 7 3-pointers. He kind of and I told you that I said he's gonna have a monster game. Mm-hmm. The skeptics, they're gonna quiet down a little bit, and that's what ended up happening. I mean, they saw that gradually he was getting better. And again, even though he wasn't shooting great, I never once questioned the shot. It was more of his defense. Can he get his teammates involved? Can he play better defense? Those were the big question marks. And I think he was answering that little by little. And, yeah, he's not where he should be yet, but he's going to get there. I mean, he's 19 years old. Mm-hmm. Steph wasn't nowhere near as good at that age. You know, Steph did it. He played 3 years at Davidson, so he had more muscle in him. And he's longer and a little bit taller. But I think he'll be fine.
And they're bringing Jeremy Lin in, too. That's going to be interesting.
That was a good move. What'd you think about that?
I thought Travis Slank, if people don't remember, the former Golden State Warrior assistant GM, who's now the Hawks GM last year, became it. I think he's building the team the way he wants to build the team.
Right. And
you got John Collins last year, who's a perfect big man because he has explosiveness sometimes. So he'll be good there. Trae Young, basketball, everybody came out of nowhere last year with Oklahoma. Jeremy Lin, a solid veteran who's been different places, but the guy gets it.
He's injured all the time.
He's injured, though.
But when he's not, he's pretty damn good.
He's good. He'll get Trae Young going during practice and help him just develop the NBA.
And he'll play alongside him as well.
Yeah, he doesn't need the ball in his hands.
Right.
So we're going to see that. I think Atlanta's going to be a much improved team. It's just going to be interesting because their head coach, Lloyd Pierce, we all know is kind of more of a defensive coach. And that's going to be interesting to see where they transition there. I think the Hawks have a future. Just they're gonna build it up like the Kings are doing.
They're gonna build it up like how the Warriors. They drafted Trae Young, and this is what I mentioned in my video. Yeah. They drafted Kevin Hurt out of Maryland, who was supposed to be Klay Thompson, right? 6'7" shooting guard with a beautiful jump shot.
John Collins.
They had John Collins, but then they go out and get Omri Spellman from Villanova, who's supposed to be Draymond Green. So how weird or how awesome was it that Travis Lang went after guys with similar offensive abilities, and Trae Young, Herter, and Spellman,
and he's still trying to unload Dennis Schroeder to get somebody else. Right. So it's gonna.
So he's building pieces, that the same way he was there when the Warriors built their team.
And Travis Lang's a guy who's been a part of the NBA for a long time as a coach and a GM assistant, and now a GM. What other team kind of caught your eye during Summer League, maybe that people might not be talk about? I think one is going to be maybe Orlando. They have some young, good pieces.
I was surprised with Bamba. He was better than what I thought that I give him credit for. What I didn't take into account, and I'll say this right now, was that when I talked about Bamba on an individual standpoint was he's going to get roasted when he gets switched on to faster guards because he's not very quick laterally. And we all knew about his amazing wingspan. What I didn't recognize was that, again, I kind of forgot about Jonathan Isaac. When you put those two monsters together with that type of length, and they're bringing back Aaron Gordon, so they all have over a 7-foot wingspan, you only have so many inches of space in a half-court offense and a half-court set to do things. It's going to be really difficult for any team to get off a good shot because of all the wingspan, all the length that you have in these three potential, front court mates.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give Bamba a lot of credit if he can hit a jump shot and spread the floor out with a 3-point jump shot. A guy who's also working with the Hanlon, the shooting coach. That's gonna be a young team on the rise to keep an eye on.
Let's talk about the Nuggets real quick. They made some trades and some signings. I found it interesting. They finally unloaded Kenneth Faried, who I don't know what he's going to do in Brooklyn. If Brooklyn's going to let him go, that's what Brooklyn's been doing lately. They've get players and let him go. But that's a guy who I've always liked as a power forward, small forward, even could play big man sometimes. That guy, if I'm the Kings, do you even look at him if he's out there? If the Nets try to trade him?
No.
Okay.
Because the Kings should have gotten him already in that trade and taken bad contracts and gotten assets. They didn't. There's no need for me to bring in a guy who's very similar to Harry Giles or to Marvin Bagley.
Where do you think he ends up then if he's not in Brooklyn?
He may end up with the Lakers.
Okay.
He may end up with a team like that that needs that veteran, leadership. So I do want to say this. I was really impressed with Josh Hart and with Mo Wagner from the Lakers. The Lakers, again, continuing to get these guys late in the first round, early second. That was pretty impressive. Mo Wagner he's pretty damn good.
I think it's Wagner because I called it Mo Wagner last week, and Trevor was like, it's Wagner. Later on in the interview, he said Wagner. So I don't know what it is. It's a silent. Really? Yeah, I think it's Wagner, Mo Wagner. But
okay.
It's German, I think.
Everyone says, it's German. You're right.
Yeah, so
it might be. It's kind of like, is it Labissiere or is it Labissiere?
Yeah.
You don't know. He said it's fine both ways. But Mo is pretty damn good.
He was good in the tournament, and I think he's going to be good with the Lakers.
He's solid.
Yeah, he's going to be a role player.
He just knows how to do everything well.
Yeah.
And anytime you can find a guy like that late in the first, you win.
I think Rob Pelinka is maybe one of the most underrated GMs.
You think so already?
Oh, guys.
You get Josh Hart last year. You get Kyle Kuzma.
And this is a guy who was a former agent, by the way.
Right.
This guy knows NBA players, so he knows how to find them and sign them. But as a GM so far, I don't know if it's his decision picking these players. I think it is, and it's not magic. I think he's doing an excellent job so far, and we know he has Kobe's approval because he's Kobe's former agent. But I think the guy's becoming a good GM real quick.
NBA Highlights said, "Who's that guy in the black shirt? Damn, he's good looking."
Hey, thanks.
Lakers got Shvai also at 47.
Yeah, that's somebody who they're
from Kansas.
Who they're high on too, I think.
This guy is a sniper of a shooter. Mm-hmm. I mean, this again.
That's why I'm saying LeBron should be happy with this team. The young players with the solid veterans of Lance Stevenson, Rajon Rondo, and JaVale McGee. You have guys.
I think the Lakers are banking on their youth and then just bringing in these filler guys for a year to open up for 2019.
And these guys who have edges. Rondo.
Right.
Stevenson Amagi. I think it's going to be okay.
Someone said it's Wagner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you make of what the Nuggets have done? We've seen them.
So they drafted Michael Porter Jr.,
which I think is actually
number 14. They'll probably redshirt him just like they did with Giles.
I think it's good. It's a good pick for the future.
And then they get Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about. How do you think IT is going to like Denver back with Mike?
I like it. Him coming off the bench with a Jamal Murray and a Devin Harris. No, not Devin Harris. Harris. Yeah. The shooting guard, the young one. Gary Harris. I love it. You know, he's going to accept his role going back with Mike Malone. Why? I mean, that team is a playoff team. Yeah. They were a playoff team last year. They got screwed. You know, they won 49 games, I believe, and they didn't make it.
Getting rid of Arthur and Fareed, how do you think that helps the team, though?
It does. I mean, they bring in a guy who can just get you buckets off the bench. He's going to be nice with Jokic in that pick and roll, pick and pop type game. And then a healthy Paul Millsap, which wasn't healthy all of last season, really hurt them. And as he came back, the team got better. It's going to be fun watching the Nuggets play every single night.
And then a team like the Nuggets kind of last year people were talking about is the Timberwolves Twins. I was thinking baseball because you're wearing an A's shirt. Minnesota. Right. We've heard Jimmy Butler might be unhappy with the front office. No shocker there because Tom Thibodeau and the front office for the Timberwolves can be like that sometimes. Then we hear he's upset with Cat, Karl Anthony Towns. Andrew Wiggins is still a question mark in my mind sometimes. What do you think's going on in Minnesota right now?
Jimmy Butler needs to be with a guy like a Kyrie Irving, with more of a veteran guy. He just can't tolerate stupidity from young players. He holds himself to such a high standard, a lot like Kobe did, that if you're not close to matching his intensity in practice, in the game, preparation-wise, he's not going to like you. And he's not going to respect you. So there's an issue there. Will Cat put up with that, and then will Cat elevate his game to make Jimmy happy? Because if he elevates his game, that's for the betterment of the team.
It's kind of like the Shaq-Kobe thing, if you think about it. Shaq and Kobe, they had disagreements about...
But this is more about the younger players not really taking their job as serious.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I'm saying the intensity-wise, that's why Kobe was always upset with Shaq.
So with Jimmy Butler, I think he's going to have his options wide open next year, where a lot of teams are going to have a lot of money to spend. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. It was a perfect move. Don't take the money now, although you are risking, getting injured, and you are known to get injured.
Would Minnesota try to maybe get some assets at the trade deadline? Or do you think any team would try to take Jimmy as a rental? But what would you have to give up?
That team might be the Lakers.
Oh.
They may give up, Wagner and Josh Hart and,
I don't think they should give up Kuzma.
Right. They'll probably give up Kuzma.
They shouldn't, though. That guy's going to be so.
LeBron's going to put a lot of pressure on that front office.
Yeah.
Because he feels the pressure that he has to win every single year. So that may be a team that can go after, get him for a rental, convince him to stay in LA, right? And that would be a great move, in my opinion.
I think so, too. Leo, put the headphones on real quick. I have a clip from Mark Ryan. I want to ask you about super teams real quick.
All right.
Yeah, and that's a little high. But yeah, I talked to Mark Ryan from Sports Radio 610, and here's the audio from yesterday's CK Podcast 346. Me and him talked super teams at the end of the podcast, but here's his take.
I believe the entire NBA should be taking should be guilty of collusion right now, Dustin. Everybody should be colluding against the Warriors.
I agree.
29 teams against 1. That is the only chance to beat them. Hey, we're gonna just hand over a quality player to the Houston Rockets because it'll help them beat Golden State. Help the teams that have a chance to dethrone Golden State, who in my opinion is really bad for basketball.
I agree with you.
And right now Houston has a chance to do that. So they were successful in the sense that they provided a blueprint of what it takes, and hopefully they gave some hope to other teams to competing with and possibly beating the Warriors moving forward.
So that was Mark Ryan from Sports Radio 610 in Houston, and I asked him the question because he brought it up.
I did hear that. And he also said that guys should get paid. There's a $5 million difference in between. There should be one max player, and the second guy should not be anywhere near close to the max player.
What's your take on the solution for this right now? Because
radical, but
I know his is radical, but
it may work.
Yeah, right. Because people are kind of there's parity in every sport. I said that in the podcast too. If you look in the Major League Baseball, they have a different kind of they have a minor league system though. Look at football and you look at NHL. Basketball, as he said on the podcast yesterday, you only need one player.
Right.
And it kind of has you thinking, right now the Warriors have 5 players or more than 5 players. Is it bad for basketball? In my mind, it kind of is, but I don't know what's going on because NBA's growing every year now.
It's bad for basketball because of how it all happened. Mm-hmm. But what team wouldn't love to develop 3 superstars? And that's what the Warriors had before that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like...
It's this national debate that's been up lately.
Right, and see, that's what makes this situation, this debate so unique. It's like they didn't get 5 stars altogether. They grew 3 stars, added 1 star. I mean, DeMarcus, we don't know how he's going to return. And in hindsight, on NBA 2K, yes, this team will be unstoppable. Mm-hmm. But in real life, it's not. Because if he gets out of line, they'll be the first to cut him. Yeah. They don't care about losing $5 million. I mean, that's nothing to them. So, again, even without him, they were still mega favorites to repeat again, right? With Kevin Durant and them 3 boys and Steph Curry, Clay, and Draymond. See, it's just such a hard debate. I do think it's bad for basketball in terms of Durant going there and him being a punk for going there.
And Mark also hit on this on the podcast. If you told Chris Paul he has to take $5 million less, he's going to say no and he's going to walk away because he is the leader. Ridiculous. He is the president of the Basketball Association. I agree with you with that.
That was an embarrassment.
And
if he would have left for $5 million, that shows you how much he doesn't want to win.
And we talked about this on the podcast 346 with Mark Run, Sports Radio 610 in Houston, that Daryl Morey, who's a great executive, I think. He's awesome. He's a great interview. He's a great guy. He did this deal for one reason. He thinks he can get 2 good years out of Chris Paul. He already knows the injury history the last couple of years. He can get 2 years out of Chris Paul.
It's a 4-year deal, right?
It's a 4-year deal. So the last 2 years of the deal, 3 and 4, he's kind of okay with trying to eat that contract. We've seen him make it work with other contracts before, Daryl Morey. So if he doesn't, and Mark's saying he doesn't think it's going to be this year for the Rockets. They have to look till next year for the Rockets, and that's the one thing. So I don't know what Houston's going to do. I don't think they should add Carmelo.
They may lose Capella for all this,
and
then they're screwed.
Yeah.
Who's going to play pick and roll and anchor that defense, which made them great?
So, yeah, I don't know why they had to give Chris Paul, I think, the contract for one reason. They had nobody else that could probably go get. And was it 15-3 when they were all healthy?
I'd take Trevor Ariza over Carmelo any day.
Same, but
any day.
But the money.
I'll take Mabute over Carmelo any day.
And Mark, agree with you. And I think the money situation, though, Daryl didn't want to take the hit with the $15 million from Trevor.
Look at Carmelo Anthony, man.
I agree with you.
If you look at Carmelo Anthony, just the player that he is today, right now, and you take away that name, you don't know his name is Carmelo Anthony, you would say he's a G League player. Mm. If you had no idea his name was Carmelo Anthony, there would be no, oh my God, I want him on my team.
Isn't it fitting also if you look at the Paul George signing at the party? That he wasn't there at all.
Right.
How much people on his own teams don't like him.
Right.
We saw that in New York with the Jeremy Lin situation. Once Jeremy Lin blew up,
Carmelo's he's a diva.
Yeah.
He's a diva.
Who wants him in the locker room?
And he's not willing to make sacrifices. Like, he should be coming off the bench.
And I don't get the reason why Houston would want to add Carmelo, because we already seen that with Mike D'Antoni and him. And we know Mike D'Antoni said it would be different than now this time, but I don't think that situation would happen. And we know Chris Paul he can get along with anybody, but can he really? Look at what happened in LA with Blake Griffin and the other guys.
Right. Yeah, it's one thing being friends off the court.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Cousins, Isaiah Thomas, Tyreek, we're all very good friends off the court. It was never about that. It was on the court. How do you play as a team?
Yeah.
Can you play with each other? And the answer was no. Sometimes you just can't tolerate certain guys on the basketball court.
Yeah.
And, I mentioned Capella. That's a guy who I would love the Sacramento Kings to go after to max him out. He's really young still. He has a lot of growth, and he's already a Defensive Player of the Year candidate every single year. That's a guy who you want on your squad to solidify Marvin Bagley's and Harry Giles' insurance, kind of like an insurance policy. You play him at the 5. You have these 2 young power forwards, and don't forget about Scout. I'm going to say that right now. Do not forget about Scout because Scout is so skilled. Scout is the best offensive big on the roster, period. I don't want to, don't at me, don't anything. He is the best offensive big on the roster, period. The issue with him has always been defense and weight. Can he gain weight? I have not spoken to him. I don't know if he has gained weight. I hope he has. And a lot of people are having him under the radar. You know, some people that I've spoken to think he's soft. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to offensive talent, he is the best offensive big on this roster, hands down. The silkiest game overall, hands down. So do not sleep on him. And that doesn't mean he won't get traded or, you know, something like that along the lines. That's just my opinion. But I do believe he is the most skilled offensive big right now. I think Harry Giles can surpass him once he gets under his legs. But as of right now, today, it's Scal on offense.
Before we go today, Leo, what else is on the NBA on your mind before we leave? Because
I was shook and I was upset about Jabari. I felt like the Kings could have matched that or even given them an extra $4 or $5 million. Who cares? It's essentially a 1-year deal with a team option. That's what you want, and they didn't do it. And I said that. I told you exactly that that it was $20 million or more that would have gotten the job done, and it happened. And the Bulls stepped up, and I'm happy for them. I'm gonna have NBA League Pass, and I'll be watching a lot of Bulls games because I'm high on Wendell Carter, I'm high on Jabari, and I'm high on Lauri Markkanen.
You are.
So.
Marketing somebody I talked to Jordan Malley about, man, that guy. I guess he's gaining muscle now finally, and he's going to be something special in the next year or so. So, yeah,
Noah. You said the Kings offered the same. The Kings could have offered him more. They could have offered him $25 million. If my boy from the Rockets say that guys won't turn $5 million. Why not offer him the $5 million? Who cares? The money is coming off the books next year anyway if he doesn't work out.
I think that back to the Chris Paul thing situation real quick, the Clint Capella wanted the max. We heard that report. I think that's the reason that Clint didn't get the max is because Chris wanted the max himself. Daryl Morey felt he had to give it to Chris Paul, and he had to tell Clint, hey, next contract, I'll try to get you the max.
Right.
But before you go, we go. What 2 things? Where's Carmelo end up, and do you think anything? When will we hear about Kawhi?
I want Houston because I want Houston to continue to compete. I think he's going to bring them down.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you.
But I think he's going to end up in Houston for whatever reason. I don't want him there. But
I don't see how that's going to be a good fit with Mike D'Antoni.
I think,
as I said, I think Mike D'Antoni said it's going to be a good fit because he'll work with it this time. Right. But I once there's history, there's always going to be history.
Right. And then the second part is I'm not sure. I mean, Marcus Smart. That's a guy who any team, if the Rockets had Marcus Smart, oh my gosh, like that's what you want. Marcus Smart, I think that's the biggest skilled name still out there who can make an impact on any basketball team. He would make the Kings a lot better instantly. He would bring that dog mentality. Him and Harry Giles would be awesome together. And slow starts would not be an issue in Sacramento no longer. So I would love for Marcus Smart to end up with the Kings, but if he doesn't, I believe he can make any NBA team better. And those are pretty much my final thoughts. And Dustin, I thank you so much for just killing it. The past week and a half, 4 podcasts. This one is 5 podcasts.
I'm going to try to maybe add a couple. I don't know who to talk to next. So maybe we could do a poll on Cowbell Kingdom.
Right.
Like what team you want to hear from? Like
what team do you guys want to hear about? We'll
find somebody.
We'll do a poll on Instagram and on Twitter. So stay tuned for that, guys. Yeah. Go ahead, Dustin.
Well, it's been CK Podcast 347, a.k.a. CK Podcast Live. And Leo, have fun at the A's game tonight, you know?
Appreciate that. And again, guys, use the code Cowbell if you want $20 off your next purchase on SeatGeek.
Hey, remember one thing, Kings fans. Have a great day and go Kings.